And well, not so clown. Actually, I mean, to be fair, like dev1ce, he definitely nailed it. Actually, he had a pretty good comeback. They didn't do the eSpoo tournament, which we thought, okay, fine, for, like missed opportunity there to get in on an easy like step in to figure out what needs to work on, what doesn't, all that. dev1ce does actually make a return to the server before the end of the year, which is cool to see, and he does it in fine fashion. They get a very strong start versus a team called Tricked, Danish guys, funnily enough, with Lucky on that team. And
that's weird, because I thought he was going to be part of like a 59-man lineup and be devoted. Fuck right off.
Get the fuck out of
here.
The
joke is, dev1ce played against Lucky while Bobsky probably watched from the wings like, I used to play that game. Like, then Nikolai Nion was just like, I am the king. I'm the king. I created Counter-Strike. No, you just ruined Counter-Strike, man. That's all you did, you fucking idiot. And then here's the thing. I like to imagine in this scenario that like, it doesn't really work totally, but like Nicola Nyholm's the like fucked up Theoden, like, get out, Aragon. And then fucking obviously Hunden's like his little grimmer worm to like, master, come on, we got to get Isaac back, master. He's on some like Igor shit, and I know it's pathetic, and what a rat. He's the new rat.
We need more impersonations. Clearly, if we're gonna get a grey worm.
I have a talent for it. Let's be real. I just have a natural talent for it. Mate, did you see that one that I did like the retweet of where? Well, I made on By the Numbers years ago, I made some mad analogy. I think it was when G2 was benching Kenny S. And I was like, benching Kenny S when you can't get like a better AWPer, because Kenny S was like the greatest French AWPer ever at the time, right? I was like, that's like you finding out you have erectile dysfunction. And so you just say, right, cut it off. It's like, well, that's not going to solve anything, is it? Like, I had like a whole thing. It was mental a bit. Someone found it and did like a tweet of it. I retweeted it. Yeah, it's like one of my all-time great, like, mad analogies.
Get the fuck out of here. You did that.
Good.
That's great.
It was a good one. Because I had a similar one on Twitter, guys. I said the analogy is cutting inters from Cloud9 is like finding out you can't get hard with a girl and so just chopping your balls off. It's like, well, it was the dick that was the problem. It was Nafani that's the issue. Like, sort him out. Like, why are you chopping your nuts off? Like, they're essential to the equation, aren't they?
Do you think that's the situation now?
That's the vibe I get, isn't it? It's like you're just trying anything except to address the real problem, which is the problem, isn't it?
It's the story of a lot of esports teams' lives, unfortunately for them. I mean, they're gonna have to go through this process, and
you know, by the way,
you guys are gonna be able to land on their feet.
We actually didn't hit this hard enough, and I realize we actually probably should have talked more when they won the major about that whole outsiders thing, because that is actually mad. What egg on the face of Counter-Strike and Blast and ESL that is. That a team that you will not allow to use their real org. I think fans are getting this mistaken here, Semmler. You know, fans on Reddit just tunnel on the idea that until like the head people of VP literally just say publicly, we hate Putin in the war, that they're never allowed to be in esports, right? That was never the standard for whether the team could be involved. It's supposedly the idea that you contribute to the Russian economy. It has nothing to do with what you've tweeted or not. So the mad thing to me is this. Fans, for real, the same fans, remember, who want pro players to be paid and to not be mistreated, they seem fine with the idea that the org just pays all this money to these players to win a major, but without getting anything out of it themselves. Like, I think that's mental. Because to me, as soon as, like, I mean, obviously it could have been Navi too, because they have Perfecto and fucking, what's his name? What the fuck is the name of the other guy?
Wait, Bit? Who?
No, Bit's Ukrainian. Who's the other player who's Russian?
Electronic.
Electronic, there you go. They obviously have those two players who were Russian. So, like, it could have been a Russian winning anyway. But the idea that, like, a team with, the fucking MVP of the major was Russian and people don't know. Like, why are we just fucking persecuting these players still? And so, to me, the fact that they won, that did actually ask a lot. I mean, put it this way, the first thing it did, because they got the Blast World Final, because you just get that for winning the major, is it already exposed the Blast partnership system keeps teams out as well, because obviously it's insanely hard to come through the showdown. So, like, I do think, like, them winning the major was a bigger deal than people made out. Like, a fucking Russian player won the major, guys. And at the moment, we've spent the last year, everyone trying to fucking limit these guys from playing, limit their career opportunities, their livelihoods. Like, Do people not see it, that it's having no impact? And the worst thing is this tilts me off the face of the planet, Semmler, where people have this condescending tone of like, well, I understand that, but it's symbolic. Not for the fucking players, it isn't, you twat. It isn't symbolic when that guy doesn't get his salary. It isn't symbolic when that guy can't join another team because you've basically made an esports iron curtain and locked him off from being able to join other squads. It's not symbolic where, unless you're the absolute best Russian player, where someone like a Cloud9 will go through that like shenanigans and rigmarole of pretending a Norwegian org bought them so they can buy you, or Team Liquid doing like, I'm not buying out your Kindar, he's buying himself. So unless you're super famous, if you're just a normal Russian player, the message from the West of esports is, oh, don't worry, we will benefit from the best Russian players. We will even take money from Russia, but fuck you. Why? Because you haven't stopped the war. Just you. And I don't care. People are going to do that angle again. Yeah, but all the Ukrainian people are dying. That doesn't help them. You are not helping them. You are not. In fact, the maddest angle of this, you know what angle I even thought of the other day, Semmler? You know, people like Simple and Navi, as far as I know, have given money to Ukrainian causes for the war effort. So logically, that means people like fucking Electronic and Perfecto, by helping Navi win, help the Ukrainian side of the war effort. It's even actually not how you're presenting it. They actually potentially are aiding the side that you guys support. So I think that whole thing, I know people don't want to touch it because it's the third rail, isn't it? It's like a political minefield, but they won the fucking major, guys. Like, this has to stop because we've already had months and months and months and months of it. If it was going to have an effect, it would have had an effect ages ago. Remember, it was after Katowice that all this shit went down. How did it help making them outsiders, ultimately? What effect has it had on the actual fucking what? None. Zero. So let's stop torturing fucking players for the actions of a government that they have no impact over.
But no, Thorin, don't you understand that they're all these players are owned by Russian oligarchs, and it's just we're making the Russian oligarchs hurt. It's like, if you think that the multi gajillionaire oligarchs even know what the hell's happening with Virtus.pro,
it's nonsense. Isn't it?
It's just like, I don't know, man.
And by the way, if your company is ESL owned by Saudi oligarchs, fucking miss me. Miss me on that one, homie. Because here's the thing. You know what, Semmler? Here's a weird statement for you. Here's a cool one for you. Let me know when ESL comes out and publicly decries the war in Yemen.
Yeah, that'll be.
Why not? When they're going to do it? Never. The answer is never, by the way. Never.
I mean, the answer is never. I mean, they are sponsored by a Russian gambling website, so a corrupt one as well at that. So I mean, like there is no leg to stand on. That's why it really is. You really hope that this accelerates. Like, if you want to look at it from an accelerationist point of view, where it's just like, I just hope that this accelerates the collapse of all of this virtue signaling bullshit, and we can just go back to just being a sport. And so, whatever's happening, this is escapism. We're playing video games. Video games are supposed to be escapism. Competition is supposed to be escapism. It's something you want to focus on. Neurologically, it's not like, just psycho. You just want to get so zoned in on it because it's you will. We're talking about guys who will focus on Counter-Strike to the point where they ignore everything else in life, right?
Yes.
So if we're talking about that, that's all this is about. The wars, the politics, everything like that. Just leave it on the outside and stop.
Agreed.
If you want to maximize your profits, what was it like Michael Jordan said that Republicans buy shoes too? It's just like, if you want to maximize it, just don't even acknowledge any of that. Doesn't matter. Just run your league, and you are separate from all of that. But it's because everybody always has to get that. Just has to have their chime in say. It's no matter how many times you have this conversation with TOs as well, where you're just like, listen, why are you guys doing this? You stand to gain nothing. You stand to gain, lose a lot. Why? And it's just like, oh no, but that, this is just the right thing to do, or this is the thing, blah, blah, blah. It's always, it's such a frustrating scenario that we find ourselves in. And of course it's the players that suffer, or others that suffer. And it never really achieves anything of what they say it's supposed to achieve. So, hopefully we can just go back to to just getting the Virtus.pro logo back in. I mean, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I did retweet Virtus.pro afterwards when they Virtus.pro had like a little tweet with some emojis, when they won the major. I'm pretty sure I liked it or retweeted it. I mean, it's just like, can we stop with this silliness? Let's just move on. And so, yeah, well, I mean, dev1ce, I guess he's stopping with the silliness too, because he's just fucking wrecked house, him and BlameF. It all, like, there wasn't too much to take away from this, from the fact that the team clearly needs more work. BlameF and dev1ce both just smashed. dev1ce showed up in fine form. Individual performance looked terrific. He looked great on his side of things. It's just clear that they're still trying to iron things out in terms of the team, in terms of like what they need to do to win. Glaive, Zip, and Mister all had some moments, but overall maybe underperformed. And I suppose this is like as good as you're going to get in terms of a trial run. A smaller tournament going into the beginning of the circuit next year, and they actually managed to pull it off. So good on them. Did you manage to catch any of the matches at all, or did you?
I saw the results. I didn't watch the games. Couldn't give us a fuck about those opponents. Basically, it's no surprise to me. dev1ce is one of the only players in Counter-Strike history. I think he's even better than Simple for this, where his ability to keep his level consistent is unfucking believable. Like, he genuinely, when this guy retires, like, he should probably be someone for real who figures out like some sort of a sports psychology division of like how you run things, how you peak, how much you train, because his ability year on year is just like, even last year when people are going to say he had his like slump, his slump, he was still a more than serviceable AWP. He was a very good player still. Like, he just wasn't dev1ce, So like, I actually thought for real, because if you don't know this, Semmler, when he was for sale earlier this year, a whole bunch of fans were like, well, who cares? It was ages ago when he was good. It's like, bro, if you're out on dev1ce, you just have no eye test. It's the most obvious player to reinvest in, because you're not really buying low because it's going to cost a lot of money, but it's just obvious he's going to be good again. Like, the joke is, remember the amount of money to buy dev1ce is about the same as it cost to buy Monacy, right? Monacy had never done anything. We didn't actually know if he'd be good. I know dev1ce is good, so that's not surprise me at all. He did well in his comeback, mate. I assume by the time they actually come to real play next year, he'll probably be really good again. I'm looking forward to it. Like, I know the Astralis lineup is whack, but I do think like dev1ce coming back could be cool.
I mean, for sure, it would be awesome to see it. I mean, I think there is. You can make a point in terms of the mental aspect, because his claim was that he was out due to mental health reasons, and so that's always something that can come back. It's one of the hardest things to put away. Yes. And so I think there is a legitimate point for criticism there, where you can say, okay, maybe mentally he's not going to be 100%, and there may be some weaknesses there, but at least in terms of this showing, he looked terrific. So it bodes well, and it does kind of look like he could potentially put to rest those concerns, those legitimate concerns about his mental well-being and whether or not he's going to be able to compete again. Because if he's looking this good against this kind of opposition, if the rest of the team gets on the same page, it does look like they can actually do some work. So that's good. It's exciting. And of course, yeah, we hope. It would be awesome to see dev1ce back at the 4, especially after the year that he's had. I mean, it would be terrific to see him back in the mix. The 2 years that he's had now. So here's hoping.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.